Hello, and welcome to the 154th edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Bruckert, and I'm coming to you live here from our studios here at Casa de Bruckert, where we're going to be having another very good beer from the Dogfish Head Brewing Company. Today, we're going to be having the Midas Touch Ancient Ale, okay? And there's a whole story behind this, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. But let's start off by opening up the beer and pouring it so it has a chance to kind of breathe a little bit, and then we'll talk about the beer. Now, the beer is rated 85 out of 100, which makes it a very good beer. The beer clocks in at 9% alcohol by volume, so it's not one that you'd necessarily want to sit around and drink by the poolside, but there is a certain lightness and sweetness to the beer that makes it not quite seem like a 9% beer, at least from what I remember. It's been a while since I had this beer, but I have had it before, and I actually am a fan of the beer. Now, this beer is kind of unique in the fact it falls into what they call the herb and spice category, because what they made this beer out of are ingredients that were found in the reason they call it Midas Touch is the ingredients that they found were from a drinking vessel from the tomb of King Midas, or what they think is the tomb of King Midas. So the ingredients in here date back 2,700 years to King Midas's time, or supposedly this is when King Midas's time was. So anyway, there's a whole story about that, if that is actually King Midas's tomb, but we're going to go with the fact that it is King Midas's tomb, and that the ingredients that they use 2,700 years later, we're having it in a beer. And it was from, I think it's one of the oldest recorded drinking vessels known. So it's kind of some history here, so it's unique. So let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and smell it. So, right off the bat, you see you get the beautiful golden color. Almost looks like a Hefeweizen in color. It's a little cloudy, but a nice bright golden to orange type color. So it's beautiful. And what I get when I smell this is I get a sweetness. I'm assuming it's a sweetness. It reminds me of the Orange Blossom Pilsner Squared. It's honey. That's what I'm smelling right off the bat is honey. Then you get like a grape. You get an alcohol smell, but it's a sweet like alcohol smell. So they say this beer is a kind of a cross between beer and mead, or wine and mead. So it's a very unique beer. Not just your ordinary beer that I think of drinking, but the very first time I had it, I kind of fell in love with it because I do like when they use the honey or the sweetness to kick up the alcohol in beer. And I think that it's coming back to me why I enjoy this beer so much. It is because of the honey. Now there's also some like an earthy spiciness to it. And I think there's somebody, I read somewhere where there was like saffron, which seems odd. I don't think of saffron, but I don't detect the saffron in it. But maybe when I taste it, I will. But there's definitely a citrusy smell to it also. So let's waste no time. Let's dig into this beer. It's been a while since I had it, so I'm kind of excited. Now I'm going to do a little swirl here. We're going to do our little test here. You do get not legs, on wine they call it legs, but you do get the lacing is what they call it on the beer, which is usually a sign of a good quality beer. So let's go ahead and dig into this beer. Oh yeah, delicious, just like I remembered. You do get a honey sweetness, but you also get an earthiness. I don't know how to explain it when I say earthiness. It's got some like pepper spices kind of thing, like pepper and spice, which is probably why it falls into that what they call the urban spice category, because it's got some herbs and spices that give it an earthiness. But you do get that sweetness from the honey, which really brings out a nice, enjoyable flavor. Oh yeah, that's good. So the it's a 9% alcohol by volume. It's kind of dangerous that it's a 9% beer, because to me it doesn't necessarily taste like a 9% beer. If I was drinking it, I probably wouldn't think more than maybe 6% alcohol. So the sweetness kind of masks the higher alcohol content. But they do have that honey really just kind of pulls it all together with the spicy, sweet, just a really balanced type beer. So it's really a nice treat. And I'm gonna kick back and enjoy this. It's been quite a while since I've had it, so I'm really excited. I kind of got it on a whim because I hadn't had it in forever. So I'm really excited that I did, because I think I'm long overdue to enjoy this beer. And this is a sipper. This isn't one you're going to sit around and pound. But it sure has a complex type flavor with all the spices and the sweetness and everything. It really comes together real nice. Okay. So apparently, King Midas's tomb was found in 1957. They unearthed the tomb, and that's when they found these ingredients within the tomb. The guy whose name was Rodney Young, the guy who found King Midas's tomb. So cheers to him for finding this, and then finding the ingredients and working with Dogfish Head to produce such a nice beer. And it's got a great backstory. So we learn a little bit about history, and we learn a little bit about beer while we're doing it. So. Now, if you've enjoyed this, make sure you tell your friends about Beer Issues, and make sure they tell their friends about Beer Issues until everybody knows about Beer Issues and what fun we're having sitting around drinking beer, talking about beer and the history of some of the beers. And if you want any cool gear like this cool Beer Issues hat or t-shirts, go to shop.beerissues.com. And as my wife likes to say, I have beer issues.